The Switch 2's first holiday is here, and if you're gifting or building your own wish list, I've got you covered. I'm going to give you the absolute best buying guide out there, covering the console itself, accessories, games, and even sneaky ways to save money. So first things first, you need a Switch 2. And if you already have one, timestamps are below. But if you don't, here's what you gotta know. There are currently 3 ways to buy a Switch 2. There's the standard bundle for $450 and 2 game bundles, one with Mario Kart World and one with Pokemon Legends EA, both priced at $500. Personally, I'd recommend getting one of these bundles unless you absolutely have no intention of ever buying those games. But let's be real, if you're buying a Nintendo Switch, you probably want one of these games because you like Nintendo games. I think Mario Kart is a better bet here, not only because it's just a better game in my opinion, but it's co-op, has better multiplayer, better graphics, and it really shows off the Switch 2 as a next-gen console. If you play Pokemon first on the Switch 2, I almost guarantee you won't get that next-gen feel because, well, look at this game. If you or whoever is buying it just really likes Pokemon, then sure, go for it. But for myself, and probably for most people, Mario Kart is the bundle to get. On top of that, with both of these bundles, you're technically saving money. You're only spending $50 extra from the standard bundle for a full game. And Mario Kart saves you even more since it retails at $80 instead of Pokemon's $70. You're essentially saving $30 on Mario Kart World if you buy it in the bundle instead of separately. Out of all these, the Mario Kart World bundle is the one to buy. Also, just imagine getting Mario Kart on Christmas morning and playing it like with your friends and family who are there. Like, come on, that's just such a vibe. I love Christmas. Christmas is so much fun. I mean, literally look at my shirt. It has Snowman Mario on it. Also, he's right there. It's Santa Freddy right there as well. But along with the Switch 2, or for those who already have one, it might be time for some new accessories. And, well, I bought them all and tried them all. And I've got plenty of accessory videos on the Nintendo Switch 2 for literally every accessory. You can watch those after this, but I've done my research and these are the ones that I think are worth paying attention to. Moving forward, I'm gonna be breaking down everything, including the accessories and the games by price. And then depending on how I feel about them, I'm going to be ranking them. Take My Money, which is must-haves, like you need these. It's Good Enough, which are solid picks and good selections. And then there's the If You're Into It category, which are mostly niche options. That might be great for some, but not for everyone. And then there's the naughty list. Don't get anything that I say is on the naughty list. And stay tuned because after the accessories, I talk about almost every single Switch 2 game that you can buy. Let's get into it. So first, let's look at these accessories that are on the cheaper side. Anything under $50. And we're gonna start with all of the Nintendo Switch 2 first-party accessories that you can purchase. Like the racing wheels. Yeah, I bought these for some reason. I don't know why. Nintendo tried to hit that nostalgia from the Wii wheel, and I'll be the first to admit these are definitely the highest quality wheels that you can buy. However, they are not worth $25. But honestly, I don't even like the motion controls for Mario Kart, so it's going on the naughty list. Next up is the official Nintendo Switch 2 carrying case. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the worst Switch 2 case I've ever used. It's much more expensive than most cases out there, and not only that, it's just not that good. It's flimsy, weak, and wouldn't actually protect the Switch 2 from major damage. This also isn't thick enough to store anything else aside from a few games. It looks sleek, sure, but it's way too expensive. It comes with a screen protector, but it's just the cheapest screen protector ever. You can buy good tempered glass screen protectors and a much better case for way cheaper. So I'm sorry, this is also going on the naughty list. The only other notable accessory that's under $50 from Nintendo is the charging grip, which is technically useful if you only have 2 Joy-Con and don't put them back on the dock when you're done. The thing is, I've never found myself needing to charge these off dock because my gaming sessions just don't last that long enough for them to just die while I use them in one session, and then I just put them back on the dock when I'm done. Joy-Cons have good battery life. It's kind of hard to kill them unless you completely forget to charge them afterwards. Also, it's $40 and that's just a little too expensive for me, especially when the Switch 2 already comes with a non-chargeable grip for the Joy-Con. Oh man. This is also going on the naughty list, yikes. I got some great third-party alternatives, but first, let's finish looking at the first-party accessories like the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Yeah! This is by far the best camera you can buy for the console right now. I love how wide the lens is. I just do. You can really get everything in frame for a group setting. It's a sleek, modern look, and not an eyesore in your living room. Fits perfectly behind the Switch 2, so if you want to hide it, you can. It only does 1080p. I think that's fine for what it is. The only major problem is that there's just not very many games that use it that justify this price, which is $54. Thankfully, it's not a necessity since you can use most basic webcams with the console often cheaper. If you don't find yourself using the camera much, or you're not into camera mini games and Mario Party Jamboree, which are just kind of mid anyways, and there's not that many of them, then you're probably not going to get much out of it. So for me, this one is, if you're into it. Next up, the Nintendo Switch 2 dock set, which you can only get from Nintendo.com. I bring it up because it's an accessory that I actually use all the time. For me, I've got multiple setups, and if you're like me and make videos or have multiple TVs in different rooms, this saves you from constantly unplugging and replugging in the same dock. Also, shout out to Nintendo for including a charging adapter and an HDMI cable with it. Again, it's not necessary, but for $120, I think it's worth it. So it's good enough. Now for the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. You might have seen the debate online. Some people say it's the best thing ever. Others say it's overpriced. And well, I gotta say, this is probably the best controller of any console ever. It's so comfortable, has a wonderful matte texture that makes it grippy instead of greasy like the other controllers. It's got back buttons and aux input for headphones, and we can't forget the C button, which I rarely use, but hey, it's there. A lot of people complain about the price, but it's also by far the best. The 40+ hour battery life is insane, especially compared to something like the DualSense, which only gets around 9 hours. It's also got some pretty neat features like that HD rumble and the AMIIBO support. Now, one catch is that if you already have a Switch 1 Pro controller, it's very similar, and that makes it hard to recommend for this price, especially since the old Switch 1 Pro controller still works with the Switch 2. If you don't have a Switch 1 Pro controller though, this is top tier, must buy. You could also get another set of Joy-Con, but chances are you've got a set from your Switch 1 lying around, which yes, also work for the Switch 2, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. And personally, if I were gonna buy another pair, I would want a different color set, so hopefully we get more soon, maybe next year, but at $95, yep, I'd wait a little bit longer. So I'm gonna put those, I'm gonna toss them on the naughty list. Now what about some of these third-party accessories? Which ones do I actually use? Now the sponsor kind of lines up perfectly with this video. They asked to sponsor again, but I would have been saying this anyways. I literally have it in my script that I would be saying this case. This is the TomTalk Nintendo Switch 2 carrying case. I got it in this epic chocolate mint color. They have so many colors that you can choose from, and the best part is, this thing is sturdy and does the trick for saving the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not even kidding, I've been using this other white case that they sent me a while ago every single day. Literally, look, all my games are in it already. So when they asked if I wanted a new case, I happily agreed. This case is sturdy, has a very high quality handle, can store up to 12 games, and the inside is nice and soft and good. I've had zero complaints with this, and the Switch 2 fits so snug in there and doesn't even take as much space in my bag like some other cases I've had. This is definitely a must-have, but that's not all. TomTalk also has a bunch of these sling bags that you can purchase, which are very handy for traveling and has been very helpful when I'm on the move. They even have these smaller sling bags for things like accessories or literally your day-to-day stuff that you can put your Nintendo Switch into, and it fits sublimely, if that's even a word. These accessories are a must-have, and you can find them in my first link in the description, so please check out TomTalk. They have the best third-party cases in the game that I've tested so far. Must buy. One very popular case that I've seen a lot of people using and that I've used myself, they also sponsored a video in the past, is the D-brand Kill Switch. It gives you a dockable cover, detachable Joy-Con grips so that you can keep them on even in handheld mode, and a travel cover that snaps on the front. Plus tons of game storage, it's compact, premium, and super well designed. That said, it is a bit pricey and I don't use it all that much myself because I'm always testing other accessories out. I prefer something really quick that you can snap in and snap out. So I would say this is probably the most premium case, but it's not necessary, so if you're into it, then you can check it out. I'll have a link in the description. And I know that they are having a Black Friday sale coming up as well, so please note that. Now let's go back to the camera for a second, because there's one that I absolutely love, and that is the Piranha Plant camera. And obviously you guys love it too, because the 2 shorts I've made on it have done really well. It's so goofy that I can't help but love it. It even has a few features the official camera doesn't have, like it connects directly to the Switch 2 in handheld mode, and it comes with a little stand that lets you hook it onto the top of your TV. It's light, small, and looks fun. Plus it has this privacy shutter you can activate just by closing its mouth. The downside is that it's only 480p, which is horrendous. It's also not wide enough for group shots or games like Mario Party, so it's more of a goofy chat camera than a serious one. It's a little cheaper at $50, and it's definitely fun to look at, so I'd say it's good enough, and probably a better option than the first-party Nintendo Switch 2 camera. While you're out Christmas shopping, you might also stumble upon a few figurines labeled as compatible with Nintendo Switch 2 games. Those are called AMIIBO. I have literally every single one of them. I'm serious, look. And I'm not stopping for no one. I love AMIIBO, however, they're absolutely not necessary whatsoever. The 2 games that actually use them well are Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. If you have those, they might be fun to collect, but still, probably not worth it. There are new Kirby Air Riders AMIIBO that are really cool. They remind me a lot of like Skylander Swap Force. They're some of my favorite design-wise. Still, they are extremely pricey, and I wouldn't recommend them to most people unless someone is specifically asking for them. These AMIIBO are definitely more for the collectors out there, and it's fun to have one or two if you really like a character, because there's a variety of them, so I would put this into the if you're into it. Now, one accessory that you also need is a screen protector. You need this. I've said this before, but I still can't believe anyone would buy a console this expensive and not put a simple screen protector on it. They're super cheap. Some cost less than $10, and there are premium ones like D-brand with easy applicators, but those aren't necessary. You can just get a simple tempered glass one. They're cheap, replaceable, and they'll save your screen from scratches and cracks. This one is absolutely take my money. Please. Again, link in the description for my favorites. Now, since there are a lot of games, which I'll talk about soon, you'll need some extra storage on your Switch 2 as well. The system comes with 256 gigabytes, which is fine for a little while, especially if you mainly play first-party games, but if you download most of your stuff or plan on getting any third-party games, that storage goes pretty fast. Games like Split Fiction and FC26 are already around 70 gigabytes each, and Final Fantasy VII Remake is nearly 87 when that drops next year. So needless to say, you're probably going to want to expand your storage. And the only way you can do that is with a micro SD express card. This must be an express card. The older Switch 1 cards won't work. Be careful though, because Amazon has a lot of sketchy SD cards floating around. The two brands I actually trust are Samsung, which are partnered directly with Nintendo, and Lexar. I use a 256 gigabyte express SD card right now because that's all they had at launch, but I've already run out of space several times. I do have a lot of games, so that's probably why, and it might not be necessary for everyone, so I'm going to say it's just a good choice. But the Switch 2 is completely worthless without games, so let's start talking about them now. It's game time! Here's how I'm going to tackle the games. I'm going to bring up every single game you can purchase in store first. Again, literally every physical game. I'll go from least to most expensive and rank them on the same list that I did with the accessories. Oh, and the elephant in the room, game key cards. There's a lot of them, and I'll point out to you which one is a game key card with a little graphic, if that matters to you. But anyways, there are a lot of games to cover, so I'll keep it brief. And if I miss a game, I either didn't pick it up, didn't play it, or I don't think it's worth trying. And I'll have some honorable mentions at the end for that reason. So let's get into it. When you're in a store, the cheapest thing you can buy are these DLC cards. They either unlock smaller digital games or they're Nintendo Switch 2 editions, which are upgrades for older Switch 1 games. First up, the Nintendo Switch 2 editions. These are the upgrades for previous games. Some add extra content, some mostly upgrade the visuals and performance, and since there aren't that many, let's just go through them really quick. Starting at $10, there's the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. They add easier collectible tracking via a phone-connected GPS-style app. There's item sharing with builds in Tears of the Kingdom, and the best part is the graphics and performance boost. They run so much better and make the games feel fresh. If you're looking for something small like a $10 upgrade pack, this is a must-have, take my money, if whoever you're purchasing for or yourself already has these games. Also, it's free in the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, so if they have that, don't get that for them. Then there's the Mario Party Jamboree TV Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I don't know why they named the game that way, but anyways, let's just keep looking at it. If you don't own the base game, this is fantastic. It's one of the best Mario Party entries that you can play. The base game is $60 on its own, and the Switch 2 edition add-on is $20. The Switch 2 content adds a few new mini games that use the hardware, but the graphics and performance bump is barely noticeable and doesn't actually apply to the base content. But if you're dying for more mini games, sure, otherwise it's not essential. I would say if they don't have the base game, then the full $80 game here is good enough. It's a good selection for a party game. Then we have the Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition, which is a $20 add-on, making this $80 total. This is one of my favorite games ever, probably top 5. The Switch 2 edition gives you 8 chunky new levels, new arena content, and a clean graphics and performance boost. Great platformer for all ages, co-op is a blast, and whether you already own it or not, this is worth it. I would say this is take my money. This is great. All right, now we're actually getting to the full-on games. These are more affordable, starting with the $10 games. This one you can purchase on one of those cards. This is Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. It's essentially a tech demo, and yes, a lot of people say it should be free. I kind of agree. However, it's actually a pretty fun experience that shows off the hardware better than anything else, and it's longer than you would expect. Most people probably won't care, but if you're curious about the new features on the console, it's neat, so if you're into it. Then we have Fast Fusion, $15. It's basically an F-Zero style racer. You're flying these insanely fast zero-gravity machines through gorgeous, unique environments. There's a lot of unlockables and plenty to do, and it looks fantastic. If you don't already have a racing game, it's a solid pick. And even if you do, it's only $15. So this is good enough. But we can't forget about the most hyped game of the year, Drag X Drive, the Nintendo wheelchair basketball game. Oh, for $20, I actually really enjoyed this, which I think is an unpopular opinion. You use your mouse to move the wheelchair and Oh, well, that's about it. It's a fun time, but mostly if you have someone else to play it with. It's the kind of game you bust out for a few hours, laugh, maybe get an accidental arm workout, and then never really touch again. It's super polished, but sadly there's no split screen or local mode. I did a full video on it if you want my detailed thoughts, but overall, it's kind of a toss-up, so if you're into it, I'd say. Moving up to the $30 range, we're finally getting into the actual games with physical cases. I know, right? Like Pac-Man World 2 Repack. It's one of the best 3D platformers you can grab at this price. It looks great. It's a remake of the early 2000s classic, and it's just a cozy, fun time. It didn't stick with me long term, but for what it is, it's a really safe, enjoyable experience. So it's good enough. Speaking of Pac-Man, there's another one, Shadow Labyrinth. Now this one is only on a Switch 1 cartridge, but you can get a free upgrade for the Switch 2 edition of the game when you put the cartridge in. It's a Metroidvania style game at a pretty low price. It's fun for a while, but kind of forgettable once you put it down. And honestly, that's because right after it came out, the best Metroidvania of the year, or a long time, dropped. And that's a cheaper game and just plain better. So unless you find this one on sale or are really interested in edgy Pac-Man, I'd only buy it if you're into it. Next up is one of the most beloved indie titles ever, Hades 2. I actually haven't played this one yet myself, but if you're into dungeon crawlers, everyone I know says this is a must buy. And fun fact, the physical version was actually published by Nintendo, making it one of their cheapest physical games. It's also not on a game keycard, which is a plus. Even though I can't give it my full personal stamp of approval, based on what I know about the game, this is a take my money. And finally, capping off the $30 range, we've got a fun one, Fortnite. I'm serious. Yes, it's free, but this is the physical edition Nintendo sells every holiday for parents who want something to wrap. Or for collectors like me. I have every physical Fortnite and I have no idea why. But it's honestly fun just seeing the Switch 2 box art. This bundle combines 2 older physical releases from the Switch 1 era, which used to be rare. Now it's not that much. Thanks, Fortnite, for doing that. Gosh. If you or whoever is buying this like Fortnite, it's a great little pickup, and yeah, it's just a code and box, but my collector brain still loves having the case. It's probably not for everyone unless you're me, so if you're into it. Now moving on to the $40 category. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. It's, well, Puyo Puyo and Tetris. There's plenty of content here, but honestly, there are so many better options for this price, or less. There are lots of modes for puzzle lovers. This is like getting a puzzle on Christmas morning, which I don't think anybody asks for. Mother, I hope you're watching. I'm sorry, I gotta put this on the naughty list. SpongeBob SquarePants, Titans of the Tides. Another 3D platformer in the same style as SpongeBob's last games, Cosmic Shake and Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's quirky, colorful, and full of charm. Exactly what you'd expect if you grew up with SpongeBob. And on the Switch 2, it looks great, and the animation are super cartoony and fun. One issue that I have is the performance. It's a bit janky in some areas, even with separate graphics and performance modes, but this is definitely a top tier SpongeBob game, and if you like any of those or SpongeBob, it's a solid choice for SpongeBob fans. So this is definitely good enough. And if you really like SpongeBob, it could even be a must-have, just saying. And finally, in the $40 category, we got Bravely Default. This one's a remake of a 3DS game, which is great for its time, but even with some minor Switch 2 features like mouse mode and bonus content, it doesn't hold up as a modern purchase for me. I'm putting this on the naughty list. Now onto the $50 releases. All right, these games are getting a little more substantial, like Yooka-Laylee League. This is one of the first games announced for the Switch 2, and I've always been interested in it, but I haven't actually fully played it yet. Also, this game heavily boasts it does not have game keycard. It's a remastered, upgraded version of Yooka-Laylee with all moves unlocked from the start, smoother controls, better visuals, and reworked worlds. Most critics say it finally delivers on what the original tried to be, brighter visuals, tighter gameplay, and tons to explore. The downside is that the performance on the Switch 2 is capped at 30 frames per second with a few dips here and there, and the level design can still feel a bit old school. And for the price, I'd probably hold off a little bit for a sale. And also, I'm pretty sure the digital version's a little cheaper, so if you're into it. And yes, Tony Hawk 3+4 Remake. The only game that makes me feel athletic while sitting completely still, like this. I think I just burnt a calorie at least. I never played these original games back in the day, but I did play 1+2 Remake on the Switch 1, and somehow this runs better on the Switch 2. Who could have seen this coming? The Switch 2 version isn't PS5 level or anything, but it looks clean, runs well, and thankfully doesn't sound like my console's about to implode on itself. Gameplay's as fun as ever. There's tons of skate parks, challenges like collecting skate letters or racking up high scores, and loads of customization. I even turned my skater into Doom Guy. Just thought that'd be fun to share. It's cheaper than your average AAA game as well, and since it's Activision, it'll probably go on sale quite a bit. Although there's one thing to note about this release, and it's that it's on a code and box. There's no cartridge, and if you wanted a cartridge, you need to buy the Switch 1 version, but even the Switch 1 version, there's no upgrade path, so don't. It's available, it's a good game for what it is, but it'll go on sale at some point, so if you're into it, it's a good one. Continuing the $50 train, we got Sonic X Shadow Generations. This game was already fantastic back in 2011, and somehow it still holds up. And honestly, it might be my favorite Sonic game ever, and a lot of Sonic fans would agree. The remaster dropped in 2024 and even hit the Switch 1, which was impressive at the time, but that version was locked at 30 frames per second. Now on the Switch 2, it's so smooth at 60 frames per second, and the new Shadow mode looks amazing. You even get graphics and performance options, which is wild. I went with performance because I like to go fast. My only real gripe is that I had to completely rebuy the Switch 2 edition because there's no upgrade path from the Switch 1 version. So if you already have this on the Switch 1, I'm sorry, you gotta buy it again. Even though it literally lets you continue from your old save, which just feels like there's something that they could have done here. But anyways, this is still the best way to play Sonic handheld, and the Shadow campaign alone makes it worth the price. So if you don't already have the game, then this is a must buy for me. Take my money. Next up, Split Fiction. And this is one of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had in gaming at all. It's one of those games that just works. It's designed for 2 players and really makes you question the relationship with whoever you're playing it with. So take that as you will. The story's great, the puzzles are clever, and the co-op gameplay is some of the best you'll find on the Switch 2. It's constantly mixing things up so it never gets stale as well. Performance-wise, it's solid. The game runs at 30 frames per second when docked and bumps up to 60 in handheld, which feels super smooth and more responsive. But everything looks so crisp and the lighting holds up nicely. You really do get the full experience here. Nothing is cut. It takes advantage of the hardware, controls feel tight, load times are quick, and the co-op runs smoothly, both locally and online. Sure, it's not as flashy or cinematic as the PS5 version, but being able to play this anywhere next to someone is what makes it special on the Switch 2. So if you can trick someone into playing it with you, this is one of the best co-op experiences on the system. However, one downside is that it is a code and box. My freaking boy, why in the world is it doing that? That's Goofy Town. This code and box is definitely the biggest drawback. It's a chunky download at 70 gigabytes too. But overall, it's an incredible experience at a lower than average price for the quality you're getting. So I'd say honestly, take my money. This is a good one. Now we're getting into the big $60 games. These are where we start getting into the main big purchase, the one thing on your wish list. Let's get into it. Starting with Star Wars Outlaws. Now this one actually surprised me. It's the full current gen Star Wars game that somehow runs on the Switch 2, which is wild considering it didn't even release on PS4 and Xbox One. I went in expecting a pretty subpar experience, but honestly, it's super smooth. The game's locked at 30 frames per second and stays there almost perfectly the whole time, with the resolution hovering around 1080p and 1440p from what I could tell. The open world is huge, you can sneak around, fight enemies, even fly between planets, and for a handheld, it's super impressive. The lighting and textures actually look great, and at one point I shot a plant and watched it burn and crumple apart. Like, why in the world did they need to add that? They didn't. Ubisoft decided to flex in a very weird way. The story's fine, a little hard to follow at times, which is probably just me, but this is one of those games that just feels right on the Switch 2, and it even supports some of the hardware like gyro aiming, which is a nice touch. The full package is here, all DLC is included, and for $60, it's a solid deal. It's Ubisoft, so it will probably go on sale in the next few months, but if you want a big cinematic experience to sink into over the holidays, this one is actually worth it. So this is a good choice. Next up, Street Fighter 6, the classic 2D fighter. You either love it or you have no idea what's happening. I have no idea how to play this game. Thankfully, Street Fighter 6 includes a modern control mode that actually helps you understand what's going on. I still got destroyed, but at least now I know why. The Switch 2 version runs really well, 60 frames per second during fights, except for in the story mode, which dips to like 30 frames per second for some reason. But anyways, it comes with all the DLC bundled in it. Visuals still pop and it feels great in handheld. Capcom also added this ridiculous split Joy-Con mode where you can just shake the controllers to fight, which is honestly just awful. But if you're new to the series, this is a great place to start. And if you're a longtime fan, it's awesome having it on the go. $60 is a little steep, and I've already seen it go on sale a few times, so I'd wait for a little bit of a discount. But even at this price, it's absolutely worth grabbing. Also, small side note, there are AMIIBO for this game, which are like 40 bucks a piece. Oh my goodness, they look cool, but they are completely pointless. $40 is, well, that's just disgusting. I'm putting the AMIIBO on the naughty list, but the games are a good choice, especially if on sale. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero! On the Switch 2, it runs at 30 frames per second whether you're docked or handheld, and the resolution tops out around 10p, but it still looks pretty good. It's a massive roster with characters, destructible arenas, and plenty of chaos, which is perfect for these Dragon Ball fans. That's me. There's still that classic anime jank, like some cluttered menus and a steep learning curve, but when it clicks, it really is awesome. If you're wanting to get into this series, this is a fun pick. Just know it can get wild, and like every Dragon Ball game ever, it will probably go on sale soon. It's a solid pickup for Nintendo fans who miss it on other platforms, but if I were you, I'd probably wait for the next season when it goes on sale. Great game, but a little too expensive for how old the game actually is. There's also Rune Factory Garden of Azuma, which I played for a bit, and it didn't click with me, especially not at this price. I don't know, it just didn't really feel like a Switch 2 game, so I gotta put it on the naughty list, I'm sorry. There are still a few other $60 games out there, but I'll cover those in my honorable mentions later on, because now it's time to move on to the big AAA $70 titles. These are the big releases, including a lot of Nintendo's very own heavy hitters, which I'll spend a little tiny bit more time on so that you can get the full picture of what I think about these. Starting with Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Now, I've done full reviews on all these first-party Nintendo games, and I go really deep on how I feel about each one, so if you want my detailed thoughts, go check out those after this, but here's a quick short version. I expected Hyrule Warriors to be a little bit of a button masher, but it actually surprised me. This one actually feels like a next-gen Nintendo game. The game's classic warrior style, you're mowing down hundreds of enemies, stringing together wild combos, and swapping between characters who each feel genuinely different. The Zonai gadgets add some spicy variety too. 1 second you're burning mobs alive, and the next you're freezing them. Sounds like Christmas to me. Performance is also way better than past entries. The game runs at a near locked 60 frames per second and looks gorgeous doing it. Attacks pop with bright visuals, lighting's incredible, and the environments actually look alive compared to the jittery mess of some older Warriors titles. This one feels great. The presentation is also so premium, full voice acting, cinematic cutscenes, and great sound design that makes everything feel big and dramatic, and it actually runs well. The best part is that it feels finished. If you want something loud, flashy, and fun that actually delivers on performance, Age of Imprisonment is one of the best action titles on the Switch 2. And this is a great holiday pick, but only if you like Zelda and have played through Tears of the Kingdom. Otherwise, you might not get the full enjoyment out of it, so I would say this is good enough, because it's probably not for everyone. Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this one was a big deal. And I had never played Cyberpunk before the Switch 2, and honestly, I get the hype now. It's one of those massive futuristic open world games where you can do basically anything. Explore, shoot, hack, get lost, and somehow it actually runs on a handheld. Visually, it's gorgeous for the Switch 2, the textures are sharp, lighting is incredible, and the performance hovers just above 30 frames per second most of the time. Sure, it dips a bit when chaos breaks out, but it's never unplayable. It's genuinely impressive seeing this much detail on a Nintendo console. That said, the story definitely did not hook me. It's a lot. You'll know what I mean if you played it, but if you're already a fan or just want to see how far the Switch 2 can be pushed, it's a good one to test it out with, and this is by far the best handheld experience I've had with this game. I don't love promoting or playing M-rated games either. Let me just say, yeah, it's not for kids. This version includes all the DLC, and I've heard tons of people call it a must-buy. Personally, it didn't hook me that much, but it's still a great port, and it's fully on the cartridge, which is nice. So it's a good pick. Now, sports! Because I played some of these sports games, and well, to be honest, I am disappointed as can be. I played Madden 26 and FC 26. There are some other sports games like WWE and NBA, but I just didn't end up picking those. I think WWE is actually a pretty good port, but I never played that. Anyways, Madden 26 and FC 26. I'm gonna lump them together because my experience was pretty similar with both of them. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's probably because I don't act or look like a sports guy. And to that, you'd be right. However, I did give these games a fair shot, and I know a lot of people who only play these games. Literally, they don't play anything else, just these. So I tried looking at them from that perspective, though I have no idea why I did that, because, well, I'm me. Here's the crazy part. Both of these are $70 games, but the quality just isn't there. Both run at 30 frames per second, sometimes hitching even lower, which makes no sense to me. How can we get Hyrule Warriors to run at 60 frames per second with hundreds of enemies flying around, but soccer can't? They feel like lazy ports, and to make things worse, they both went on sale less than a month after I bought them full price, which felt like a kick in the head. Like I got kicked in the head really hard. At full price, I have to throw these on the naughty list just for how dirty they did me. But if whoever you're buying for loves this series, sure, grab them on sale, but please wait for a sale. Let's continue going with first-party games, like Kirby Air Riders. I love Kirby, also at $70, but this one's wild. If you told me last year that we'd be getting a brand new Kirby Air Ride game on the Switch 2, I'd probably say you needed some serious help, or I would pinch myself to see if I was sleeping. It turns out that I'm the one who needs help. Kirby Air Riders is probably my most anticipated game of the year. Not only do I just love Kirby, my favorite video game franchise of all time, but Sakurai is working on this game, the same person who directed the Smash Bros games. So yeah, it's gonna be quality, and it is. This is basically a Kirby racing game, but it's way different from your traditional racers. It feels simple and chaotic at the same time. There's so much going on, yet you're only pressing 2 buttons, B to drift and use copy abilities, and Y for your occasional special move. And that's mostly it. There's a ton of variation in how you play. You can choose from a large roster of Kirby characters and vehicles, and these choices actually make a huge difference in gameplay, way more noticeable than any other racing game I've ever played. And the content here, well, there's just a lot of it. Tons of characters and vehicles, yes, but also hats, keychains, kart customizations, a story mode, and even a full top-down mode that they absolutely didn't need to include, but they did anyways. The 2 main modes are racing mode with 18 total tracks, including every track from the original game, and city trial mode where you collect stats and battle it out in mini games. There's also full online co-op, 4-player split screen, challenges, and yes, like I said, AMIIBO support. You can actually train your AMIIBO, and they're swappable. There are only 2 released right now, but they're $50 each. Unless you're insane like me, I probably wouldn't get those because it's quite a steep price. There are some small flaws with this game, like how the controls can be tricky to get used to, and I'd say training mode is basically mandatory, but overall the game feels finished, it's polished, packed with content, and runs beautifully. And yes, it's fully on the cartridge. So again, this is my wish list, this is what I'm saying, but I gotta put this and take my money. I would absolutely want this on Christmas morning. And alright, sticking with the racing theme a little bit here, we got Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Now technically, this isn't on the Switch 2 yet. It's on the Switch 1 right now, physically and digitally, and the digital Switch 2 edition is releasing before Christmas, so I'm still gonna count it as a holiday release, because you can buy the Switch 1 physical game and buy the Switch 2 upgrade path. The physical Switch 2 version is coming out early next year, which is a weird rollout, but hey, it works. Unlike Kirby Air Riders, this is a more traditional kart racer. You've got drift to boost mechanics, items, and online play, all that good stuff, and honestly, it's way better than I expected a Sonic racing game to be. I really enjoyed this one. The main hook is that you race through multiple stages in a single race, which keeps things interesting. You can also add gadgets to your car to give it special perks, customize its colors, and even slap branded stickers on the front and back of it. Oh, and the front and backs are interchangeable, which is awesome. I actually talk about this game a lot on my second channel, which you should definitely go check out and subscribe to, but you'll know if you watch that channel that I thoroughly enjoyed this game. One of the best things about this is that Sega is supporting it long term. They've already planned out free and paid DLC for years, including crossovers with Minecraft and SpongeBob. What in the world is going on anymore? I appreciate how much support this game's getting, and that Sega is just being so transparent about it. It's fully on the cartridge on Switch 1, and it will be when it drops on the Switch 2 next year. Switch 1 owners can also pay $10 for an upgrade path, which I already said, but if you want to wrap this game up, you can get the Switch 1 version. My only gripe with this is that Sonic games usually go on sale shortly after launch, but even if you did buy this at full price, I would say it's a good choice. And for those wondering whether this or Mario Kart World is better, I do have a video about that on my second channel. Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's right, Nintendo finally gave the big guy his 3D moment again. And it's absolutely bananas. When this got announced, instead of a new 3D Mario, everyone, including me, was confused. Then I played it and now I get it. Bonanza throws Donkey Kong into a massive destructible world where your main goal is simply to break things. You can rip up terrain, hurl it at enemies, skateboard on it, double jump off of it. It's absolute madness in the best way. The world constantly rewards you for experimenting and the movement feels extremely tight. There's also an awesome twist with the Bonanza transformations too. Donkey Kong can turn into animals like a zebra for speed or an ostrich to glide, and you can upgrade every form with its own skill tree. You earn skill points by collecting bananas and unlock new powers, costumes, and even hair dyes that give passive boost. It's a brilliant layer of progression that makes the collectathon loop feel fresh again. Visually, this is stunning. I just stunned myself. Easily one of the best looking Nintendo games ever. Lush foliage, detailed lighting, debris everywhere, and that classic Nintendo polish. It's wild how alive every environment feels compared to older Switch titles. Performance stays mostly buttery smooth at 60 frames per second, with only the occasional dips when things explode before your eyes. And the soundtrack is absolute fire. Like, I have to mention it. From funky remixes of classic DK themes to Pauline's vocal bangers like Breaking Through. We're breaking through. Stopping us. Not anymore. Not anymore. The music nails that adventurous tone. Pauline's voice acting also adds way more personality than you'd expect, and her chemistry with DK carries the story very well, giving me Wreck-It Ralph vibes in the best way possible. For a $70 game, it's a lot of fun, tons of collectibles, post-content, skill upgrades, and challenges to master. This one is one of the easiest take my monies that I can find. This is a must-buy. I truly think that it is. Now, they also dropped a DLC for this game, which is an additional $20. And this adds a whole gem collecting rush mode on a new DK island, packed with callbacks to the classic games. It's actually really good, just a little pricey. So yeah, play Bonanza first and then maybe snag the DLC later, but if you just want to buy the DLC as a gift for someone, it's good enough. Pokemon Legends ZA. Oh, I'm talking about this game again. I've got mixed feelings about this one. It's set entirely in Lumio City. This is a sequel to the Legends Arceus game, which brings the catching and battling formula into a dense urban environment, swapping more hills for crowded streets. The story is surprisingly solid, a little less kiddie than usual, but it's weighed down by a ton of filler dialogue with no voice acting. There's still no voice acting in this game somehow. We can literally see the lips moving, and there's nothing. Catching Pokemon still feel fast and satisfying, not as good as Arceus, but it still feels good. They also remove things like baiting Pokemon with food to try and catch them, and instead of exploring big environments, you're exploring these smaller wild zones around the city, each themed for certain types. It works, but after Arceus, it feels a little boxed in. Now, where ZA really shines is the battling. Combat's been completely reworked, it's faster, more real-time, and way more dynamic. Attacks recharge instead of being strictly turn-based, and the environments actually affect the fight. You can dodge, hide, or even block attacks with objects in the field. Finally, Pokemon battles feel much more alive. There's also the addition of night battles, giving you ticket-based objectives like challenges, and huge boss encounters make this one of the best combat systems this series has ever had. There's also the performance and visuals. It's easily the best looking Game Freak Pokemon game yet, but for a Switch 2 title, it's rough. Flat textures, static cars, lifeless NPCs, it's got the works. Lumio City just feels empty. The 4K resolution and locked 60 frames per second help, but that sharpness also makes the flaws stand out just a little bit more. At least the soundtrack slaps, I will say that. I'll give credit where it's due. The new battle system shows that Game Freak is trying. Faster fights and deeper mechanics are a major step towards the right direction, but with that $70 price tag, it can be a little sketchy sometimes. This isn't bad for a Pokemon game at all. It just needed a little more polish and a bigger scope, I think. The foundation's there and I hope they build on it, but right now I don't think it's the next gen Nintendo Switch 2 Pokemon game that it should have been. Still, a great game, and especially for those Pokemon fans, I think it's a good choice. I know I just tore into it, but I mean, I did like it.
Hey guys, Future Russ here. There's actually a game that I forgot to mention completely, and that's Metroid Prime 4, which is pretty much the last big Nintendo game of the year, and I just forgot to say it because, well, the game's not even out yet. This releases on December 4th, but let me tell you my opinion on it because I did actually play this game early, and I got some interesting takes, you could say. All right, let's talk about it. Metroid Prime 4 is the classic Metroid Prime formula. You go back and forth between maps and stuff like that, and again, I can't say that I played this entire game yet because it's simply not out yet, but what I can say is that if you like Metroid Prime, you're probably going to like this game. It has crazy enhanced visuals. Like, seriously, what are these faces? These are the best faces I've ever seen in a Nintendo first party game. What the heck is this? It's got Metroid riding on a bike. Samus has these new psychic abilities. So I can already say that if you like Metroid Prime, you're probably going to like this. The gameplay is fantastic. What I played of it was very good. I also love how it uses the mouse mode. I think this is the best use of the mouse mode in a first party Nintendo game, I think, ever. Now, we have been hearing some flaws about this game, like how sometimes the NPCs that you're with can be a little bit annoying, but I don't know. I think I just have to play it first to actually determine that. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I haven't played the full game yet, but I have played enough of it to kind of get my first impressions of it. And I think it's going to be good. I definitely think this is going to be a little bit for the older audience. Someone who's actually played a Metroid game before. This is literally a 3D Metroidvania. That's all it is. There's probably going to be lots of backtracking. And one thing I didn't like about the previous Metroid Prime games is the fact that you have to do all this backtracking. I just found it so boring sometimes. If I'm going to be honest, I found it a little bit boring sometimes, but that's just my personal taste. I totally get the appeal for this. Probably wouldn't buy it for a super young one who doesn't really care to go backtracking and all that stuff. It's definitely for a more adult audience. Not adult in the way that it's like inappropriate or anything. It's just a little bit more complex in the gameplay perspective and keeping track of things. Who knows if I'll even be able to figure it out. So I can't say this is a must buy, but it's definitely a good choice for any of those Metroid Prime lovers out there. And I'm definitely going to give it a try because this definitely has the potential to be one of the best Metroid games ever. It's also on the Switch 1, just saying. So you don't even need a Switch 2. All right, let's get back to it.
And finally, the $80 tier. We're here, baby. And really, there's only one game that I need to bring up. There are a few others technically in this category, like the full Switch 2 edition games that I talked about earlier with Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby, but I've already talked about those. We need to talk about Mario Kart World now. Let me get this out of the way first. As I mentioned earlier, you can practically get this game for $50 with the Switch 2 bundle, and that's what makes this worth it. It's an easy must buy at this price, which is how most people are picking it up. But for those paying full price, this is where things start getting a little questionable and wild. After 12 long years, we finally got a brand new Mario Kart. Nintendo actually built this one from the ground up for the Switch 2. It's gorgeous, massive, and full of potential, but it's also one of the most controversial Mario Karts ever made. The big feature here is the open world. This isn't just pick your cup and go. Every track is stitched together into one giant interconnected map that you can freely drive across, mess around with boost jumps, rail grinds, and tackle hundreds of little P-Switch mini challenges scattered across the world. It's fun and easily the biggest shakeup the series has ever seen. That said, this mode could definitely use a little bit more depth. It's a blast at first, but after a while, you'll wish there was kind of like a true story or mission mode to tie it all together. Also, the purpose of playing this is pretty much just to complete it and to get these little stickers, which I don't actually find useful. But anyways, on the racing side, Nintendo nailed it. The new movement system with boost jumps, wall riding, and rail grinding feels incredible once you get the hang of it. The massive 24-player races are intense, completely chaotic, and genuinely exhilarating. That's right, I said it, exhilarating. And I never say that word. The new Knockout Tour mode might be one of the most fun things Nintendo's added in years. And visually, this thing is a stunner. Razor sharp at 60 frames per second, packed with detail and featuring some of the most expressive character animations Mario Kart has ever seen. The $80 price tag does hurt. There's just not quite enough content here to justify that price, especially when you compare it to something like Tears of the Kingdom. If you grab it in the Switch 2 bundle for $50, it's a no-brainer, as I mentioned, but as a standalone, it kind of feels like Nintendo priced it for future updates that don't exist yet and Nintendo hasn't told us are going to exist yet. Some parts of the game feel rushed or unfinished. For example, they only added the ability to track P-switches 4 months after release. The character selection screen is also a mess, cluttered with costumes. Not the worst thing ever, but it would have been so much cleaner if they just were to structure it like any other character selection with costumes ever, with one unified screen. And while costumes are cool, there's an odd lack of consistency. Some characters like Donkey Kong and Pauline only have 2 costumes each, while others have a ton. It's weird, especially since they could have pulled so many from Donkey Kong and Bananas wardrobe for options. It just makes it feel like they're purposely holding it back to update it in the future. And maybe Nintendo will add updates later, but right now there's no roadmap, no communication, no confirmation of continued support, and this is what they claim is worth $80. It's just not ideal. And I have to say, it's still a solid game you can snag in the bundle for $50, which makes it worth it. But if you're paying full price, I'd personally wait a bit, maybe grab it used if you really need it, or pick up Sonic Crossworlds or Kirby Air Riders first. So I gotta say, take my money if it's bundled, and it's just a good choice if you're buying it for $80 at full price. Now, before moving on from games, here are a few honorable mentions that I'll quickly give you my opinion on. Hitman, it's a little too violent, but if you're into it, I guess. Survival Kids, this one's not actually a physical game that you can buy in North America, but you can import it if you really want to. Pretty good for co-op adventures. When I played it single player, and for the price, it's definitely not worth it, so I gotta say, only if you're into it. Yakuza games, also not for me. A little bit more mature than I expected. Not that I'm not mature or anything, but the gameplay just didn't land with me as much personally. But if you're into it, you're into it. Persona 3 Reload. I've heard so many good things about this game. I just haven't had a chance to break into it yet. It's also $60, and I hear that this game is very, very good. So I think it's a good choice. I just haven't played it yet, so I had to put it in honorable mentions. Farming Simulator. This is on Switch 2. I've never played Farming Simulator, but if you're a farmer out there, or if you played Farming Simulator, I'm sure it's good. Hogwarts Legacy. Once again, a fantastic Nintendo Switch 2 port. I haven't played it much myself. I bought it and I just didn't get around to playing it yet. And finally, Chronos. Once again, I purchased, but I never actually played yet. It's a little creepy, so I'd probably do a little bit more research on it if you're planning on picking it up. But from what I hear, it's a good choice. Apparently, it's a good game. Also, I gotta say, some Switch 1 games did get a small visual free upgrade for the Nintendo Switch 2, like Mario Odyssey and The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I know are going on sale for Black Friday. So, how can I save money on all this is probably what you're asking. Well, I kind of just said it. I mentioned some companies that usually go on sale, and you'll find a lot of these games dropping in price around Black Friday, which is probably around the time I'm releasing this. So go look now, and Black Friday is definitely the best time to pick up a game for the holiday season, whether you're buying it for yourself or someone else. Now, Switch 2 games this year might not go on sale as games normally would, but that's probably because it's the Switch 2's very first holiday season, but I've already seen a couple of good holiday deals popping up. I can also say pretty confidently that pretty much every first-party Nintendo Switch 2 game is is not going to go on sale, so you can probably get these at any point. Again, I'm saying Nintendo Switch 2 games, not Nintendo Switch 1 games. This is basically the only time of the year that Nintendo does discounts on anything, and they actually did a couple this year, but for the Switch 1, on some older titles, and these are still very solid. Here's a picture on screen of the games that are on sale. I also just have to talk about the whole game keycard thing. If you're not sure what it is, it's pretty much just the game digitally downloading with the key that's on the cartridge from your game keycard. If you're buying gifts or you're buying it for yourself or whatever, I like game keycards. I obviously prefer the physical cartridge on the actual game, but I don't think game key cards should be hated on, or you shouldn't buy the game because of a game key card. At the end of the day, these physical game key cards can be traded or returned if the person who buys it doesn't want it anymore or just wants to trade it in later. There's also the fact that you can actually trade it with other people a lot easier than Nintendo's virtual game key card trading system. Also, it's something physical for the collectors like me, and it's better to have some sort of physical version than no digital version at all. So if you're not sure about game key cards and you don't care about game key cards, I wouldn't worry about it. You just need to download the game when you put it in the system. Now, there's also the Nintendo Switch Online subscription that you can buy, but that's really just for playing online and accessing classic NES and SNES titles. These are the prices online: $20 a year and $35 a year for a family account that can hold up to 8 accounts. So if you got 7 other friends, you can maybe go in on it with them. Then there's also the expansion pack, which is $50 a year and $80 a year for the family pack as well. The expansion pack probably isn't worth it, and I probably wouldn't gift the Nintendo Switch Online membership for Christmas, because it really just depends on how you play and who you play it with. The expansion pack does add a few DLC packs from some Switch 1 games, plus Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and soon Virtual Boy titles. Let's go. But unless you're a retro game fan or someone who plays online, this often isn't necessary. Thankfully, it is one of the cheapest gaming subscriptions compared to PlayStation or Xbox, and you get access to like the Nintendo Music app and the ability to purchase wireless classic Nintendo controllers too. I also just have to mention another gift that is a very good option is just an eShop gift card. If the person you're buying for or whoever doesn't like physical games, this is usually a good option, and they can just buy whatever they want. There's a great selection of digital only games on the eShop as well, so it is a good choice for a gift. At the end of the day, it's not about the physical size, it's about how much money you spent on it. This is the official Russ Vandy Nintendo Switch 2 Buyer's Guide of 2025. Everything's scrolling past here. Make sure to take some screenshots and all that stuff. Again, all the links are in the description if you want to check out something, and if you click one of those links, it'll help the channel out. So here you go. Let me know if I should change things up for next year, and if you like the style or not. Thank you so much for watching. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and let me know what Switch 2 thing you want most for Christmas this year. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.